Hello Year 4, how are you today? It's Miss Bellis here. Welcome back to Maths, and today we are going to continue our learning on fractions. So before we look at today's in focus problem, let's think back to the previous lesson, and we were counting in hundredths. Can you remember there was a big box of chocolates and it had 100 chocolates in it, and each of those chocolates was worth 100th, and we counted up and down in hundredths. So here's a little challenge for you before we start. Can you count in quarters? How about in halves? Can you count in sixths? Can you count in eighths? Have a go and see if you can count in any of these up to the number 1. Okay, I hope you got on okay with that. And here is today's in focus. And we have a picture of some cakes here. And it asks us how many cakes are there? And Ravi, I think, is giving us a clue because he says, can you count in sixths? So here are some questions to help you think about this problem. What do you know about sixths? How many sixths are equivalent or equal to a whole or 1? How many sixths would there be in 2 wholes or 3 wholes? Have a think and then we will look at some solutions together. Okay, so here is the same picture that we saw in the in focus task, and it says there are 2 whole cakes and 5 sixths of a cake. But how do they know? Well, if we look carefully, we can see that the cake has been divided into 6 equal parts. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And only 5 of them are shaded. Now, if I wanted to write this as a fraction, you can remember we always have this line in the middle. And then underneath the line, we have something called the denominator. And the denominator tells us how many parts a number has been split into. In this case, it's 6. It's been divided into 6 equal parts. And then we have the number on top, which is called the numerator. And that tells us how many parts we are dealing with. So we have 5 out of 6 equal parts. So there are 2 whole cakes and 5 sixths of a cake. 2 plus 5 sixths is 2 and 5 sixths. And this is called a mixed number when we write it in this way. But I just want you to think, how many sixths would there be in total? What if all the cakes were equally divided into sixths? Well, let's have a look. So I would have 6 sixths in this cake to make my 1 whole, and 6 sixths in this cake, so that would be 12 sixths for my 2 wholes, and then plus my 5 sixths. So that would give me 17 sixths. Now this is called an improper fraction, and what that means is that my top number, or my numerator, is a higher number than my denominator, which could get quite confusing, which is why we write some fractions as mixed numbers. So let's have a look at this in Let's Learn 2. So this circle stands for 1. So it asks us what number does this stand for? Okay, and Holly says this is 1, and Lulu says this is 1/6. Let's see if she's right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's been divided into 6 equal parts, and only 1 of them is shaded. And 1 plus 1/6 is 1 and 1/6, which is our mixed number, and that's what we're going to look at writing today. So can we count in sixths? Why don't we try together? 1/6, 2/6, 3/6, 4/6, 5/6. I wouldn't say 6/6 because that would make 1 whole, but I could carry on counting 1 and 1/6, 1 and 2/6, 1 and 3/6. Can you take it all the way up to 2? So here is the first part of today's guided practice, and it asks us what is the total volume of water. And we have 4 jugs here, and the first 3 have 1 cup in each jug, so 1 cup measure in each jug, but the final one has 2/3 of a cup. So how can we begin to write this as a mixed number? Well, we know that we have 3 holes, and then the final one has 2/3 of a cup in it. So 3 holes plus 2/3 will give us 3 2/3. Okay, so there are 3 2/3 cups of water all together. That's our mixed number. So here's the rest of the guided practice I'd like you to try by yourself. There are lots of pictures to help you, and we're going to be writing what these pictures are, representing them as mixed numbers. So here we have 3 wholes and a half, so 3 plus 1/2. We write it as a mixed number here, and that's the same for B. When you get to C, they haven't filled in any of the blanks for you. So you'll look at all these holes, and then when you look at this final circle, how many pieces has it been divided into, and how many of them are shaded? And for question 3, we have some shapes down here, and it asks, what could the number be? Have a go at the guided practice, and then we'll look at the answers together. So here are the answers to the guided practice. Question 1 we already did together, and here are the answers for question 2. Now when you got to C, you could see that the final circle had been divided into 3 equal parts, so that was our denominator, and 2 of those were shaded. So we had 5 holes and then 2/3. So that's written as 5 2/3 here. If you looked at question 3, we could see that we had 2 holes here, and then our final shape had been divided into 4 equal parts or quarters, and 3 of those were shaded. So here is today's worksheet, and we're writing mixed numbers. So it asks, what is the total number of pizzas? So in this box you will write the amount of whole pizzas that are there, and in this box you will write the fraction that is represented with this picture, and then you put them together to write your answer here and here. This is the second part of the worksheet, or question 4, and again you have pictures to help you, and you're just putting the wholes and the fraction together to write your mixed numbers. So here are the answers to questions 1, 2 and 3. And here are the answers to question 4. And finally, there is an extension. It's up to you if you do the extension or not. You don't have to. But if you wanted to challenge yourself, then I've got 2 problems here for you. The first one says, if this picture, that's this picture here, represents 2/12 of a rectangle, can you draw a picture of the whole rectangle? And can you draw it in 2 different ways? For the second question, it asks, if this picture represents 1/3 of a shape, can you draw the whole shape? Now it's up to you if you have a go at that one or not, but it'd be quite interesting to see how you get on. Okay, well that's it for maths for today. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I will speak to you soon. Goodbye.